Before we get into today's video, I'd like to give a shout out to the wonderful viewer who requested this build, Troy McCarthy. Thank you for the recommendation, and if you would like to see your own recommendations in a future video, make sure to comment down below. Now, let's get on with today's build. Greetings, my dear viewers. It is I, Drayon, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons Character Conversion. We take a look at characters from across media and convert them into a playable character for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, using their lore as a base, and not just mechanics. Because we want to get 100% accuracy on these characters. 90% at a bare minimum. But today is the main protagonist of the Riddick franchise, Richard B. Riddick. Bet you didn't know his first name was Richard. I sure didn't. Of course, I only watched one movie, and that was Pitch Black, but anyway, Riddick is a mercenary. Self-proclaimed mercenary, but that seems to track with his lore, his canon. But he is not just that, he is a super soldier. Genetically altered, not from birth, mind you, but still from a very young age, to be a great combatant. And we'll get into some of his details in a minute. But to start things off, we need stats, and we'll be using the point-buy system. Strength will be at a 13, Dexterity at a 14, Constitution will be a 10, Intelligence will be a 14, he is really smart after all. Wisdom will be a 12, and Charisma will be a 10. For race, he is known as a Furyan, which is technically a human who has been altered for a super soldier project, but we're going to go ahead and use custom lineage because we need that dark vision because of his weird eyes, which I originally thought were cat eyes, and I was going to do Semic hybrid like I had done with two other characters, but no, it's just special eyes, some special chemical material that got injected into his eyes, as well as some surgical procedure. Just thinking about surgery on the eyes. Very, very disturbing. Anyway, we get a +2 to one of our stats. We're going with Dexterity, making them a 16 for this build. We get the Dark Vision, we'll get 30-foot movement speed. We are a medium creature, and we get to grab a feat. We're going to grab Gunner. This will give us a +1 to our Dexterity. We get proficiency in firearms, as well as some other special features, which I forgot to put down, even though I had put down everything else. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Like I stated previously, he is a mercenary, so mercenary veteran seems to be an appropriate background. We get proficiencies in the skills of athletics and persuasion, as well as one gaming set of our choice and land vehicles. I probably could have gone with Wild Spacer to give him the ability to drive a spacefaring vehicle, but I feel that is not quite necessary. We'll also get the feature Mercenary Life, which is pretty useful. We're going to start things off with the Fighter class. We get a 1d10 hit die, starting hit points of 10 plus our Constitution modifier, proficiency in all armors, simple and martial weapon. Saving throws will be Strength and Constitution, and for our skills we'll grab Acrobatics and Perception. For our fighting style, we're going to get Unarmed Fighting, because Riddick is pretty good with his hands, being able to throw hands with just about anyone. Not to mention that I remember seeing him choke someone out, which is what the unarmed fighting style allows you to do. Pretty nice. You also get the feature Second Wind. Moving on to level 2 fighter, we get Action Surge. Level 3 fighter, we're going to grab the martial archetype Battle Master. This will give us the maneuvers Disarming Strike, Riposte, and Trip Attack, which are maneuvers that he has been shown to do. Not only being able to disarm his opponent of his weapon and use that weapon against them, but also being able to attack when they fail to attack him, and also being able to just trip someone up, knocking them against a wall before slicing their head in half with their own weapon. Great stuff! Your maneuver save DC is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your dexterity modifier. You also get Student of War, which gives you proficiency in Smith's tools, which I find appropriate because he did make his own sword out of bones. Moving on to level 4, we're going to grab the feat Tavern Brawler. This gives us a +1 to our strength, weapon proficiency in improvised weapons, and when you hit a creature with an unarmed strike or an improvised weapon on your turn, you can use a bonus action to attempt to grapple the target. Very nice. And that's really the main reason why we did it. Not only the proficiency in improvised weapons, but also to bonus action grapple. Honestly, I had thought about making him partially monk, because he has even caught a projectile out of the air, like a thrown dagger, and thrown it back at the person who threw it at him. But there were some features of the monk that didn't quite fit, so I decided not to go for that. Anyway, moving on to level 5 fighter, we're going to get extra attack. And now for our multi-class, Rogue. This will give us expertise from athletics and acrobatics, proficiency in the intimidation skill and thieves tools. We also get a 1d8 hit die with extra hit points of 1d8 plus constitution modifier per rogue level. We also get sneak attack and thieves cant. Pardon. Moving on to level 2 rogue, we get cunning action. Level 3 rogue, we get the roguish archetype. We're going to go for scout. We'll get the ability Skirmisher and Survivalist, which gives us proficiency in nature and survival. But we also get to double the proficiency bonus added to these two skills, more or less giving them expertise. We also get the feature Steady Aim, which I forgot to put on this slide. My bad. Moving on to level 4 Rogue, we get an ability score improvement. Go ahead and increase your dexterity and your wisdom each by 1. Moving on to level 6 Fighter, we get another ability score improvement. Increase your intelligence and your wisdom each by 1. Moving on to Fighter level 7, we have the Know Your Enemy ability and 2 more maneuvers thanks to the Battle Master archetype. We're going to grab Ambush and Bait and Switch. We have seen him use this in the movies before, which is pretty fun to watch. I imagine if described well, it can definitely be fun in combat inside Dungeons & Dragons. Moving on to level 8 Fighter, we're going to grab the feat Keen Mind. This will give us a +1 to our intelligence. We always know which way is north. We always know the number of hours left before the next sunrise or sunset. And we can accurately recall anything we have seen or heard within the past month. Which, other than the accurate recall, I don't remember if he had that. We have seen him do the other 2 things Keen Mind gives us. If I remember correctly, he did this in Pitch Black, which was spectacular. Moving on to level 5 Rogue, we get the ability Uncanny Dodge. Level 6 Rogue gets expertise. Go for persuasion and intimidation. While he doesn't try to be intimidating, he successfully makes you not exactly like him, but kind of fear him in a way. Especially when he does those weird tricks with weapons. Moving on to level 7 Rogue, we get Evasion. Level 8 Rogue gets an ability score improvement. Go ahead and increase your charisma by 2 points. Moving on to level 9 Fighter, we get the ability Indomitable. Level 10 Fighter, thanks to our martial archetype of the Battle Master, we get improved combat superiority. Level 11 fighter gets extra attack again. Now we get to make a total of 3 attacks per turn instead of just 2 attacks per turn. And finally, level 12 fighter, we get an ability score improvement. Go ahead and increase your dexterity by 2 points. Riddick's pretty fast, as we have seen. Anyway, that is all I have for you today. Did you enjoy this build? I do apologize for not having more references to Riddick's lore, but there are some things that probably should not be mentioned, like his unfortunate childhood. But with that being said, until next time, this has been Drahan, and I am off flying.